The culottes trend is back in time for stylish summer days and breezy nights. This wide leg cropped pant pattern from Tiana's Closet has an elastic waist and inseam pockets. For my toile, I use this feather print quilting cotton, and in this video today, I've sewn with a pretty pink shimmer fabric. I've been sewing so much recently and posting all the videos to this channel and still had time to do some sewing on the side, using tutorials and patterns from creators on Skillshare, the sponsor of today's video. I can never get enough DIY underwear with Valeria Carandi's Sew Along. She walks you through each step and the pattern she provides is simple and so pretty. I even used the same pattern to create an underwear duo here, sewing the bralette with Elena Buck's course. She's clearly a lingerie expert. I'm planning to also take her wired bra making class as well. Skillshare has thousands of creative classes in countless categories, and I've been learning so much from artists, business professionals, culinary masters, and organization specialists. There's something for everyone's passion. The first 500 people to use the link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. I hope you check them out. And now, let's sew some nostalgic and modern pants. Here we go. Here is the right side of one of my back pant pieces, and I'm going to start attaching the pocket. Align the raw edges of the pocket with the side seam so that the top of the pocket meets the top of the pant, and pin in place. Sew in place with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Now that that's sewn in place, we're going to finish this edge from the top to just below the pocket by about 1/4 inch. Now we'll flip the pocket over its seam and away from the pant and give that seam a good press. Understitch the pocket, sewing the pocket to its seam allowance underneath with about 1/8 inch seam allowance. Repeat this exact same process to attach the rest of your pockets to the remaining pant pieces, for the other back piece as well as the 2 front pieces. Then we'll place a corresponding front piece right sides together with this back piece and its pocket, and we'll pin together around the pocket all the way to the bottom of the pant. Now I'm going to sew 1/8 inch away from the original pocket stitching from the top for about a 1 inch distance back stitching to secure. Then I'll do the same toward the bottom of the pocket, starting a fresh set of stitches 1/8 inch away from the original pocket stitching, back stitching to secure. Then we'll continue stitching all the way to the bottom of the pant, continuing with that 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then we can sew around our pocket with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, starting at the top all the way around the curve to the main seam line. Now at the bottom of the pocket, I'm going to clip into the seam allowance from the raw edge to that 1/2 inch seam line. This will allow me to finish the edge of the pocket and the side seams separately because they're going to be pressed in different directions. Starting from the top of the pant to the bottom of the pocket, I'm going to sew finishing stitches. Then I'll start again at this released seam allowance to sew finishing stitches all the way to the bottom of the pant. So here are my front and back pant pieces opened out away from each other at the side seam. I'm going to press this seam allowance toward the back pant piece, and I'm going to press my pocket toward the front pant piece. Once those are pressed, we're going to baste the top of the pocket to the front pant piece with about 1/4 inch seam allowance. Place this front and back pant set right sides together, aligning the inseam and pin in place. Sew this seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, finish the raw edges together, and repeat all of these steps to form your opposite front and back pant set. Now that the inseams are sewn, press them toward the back pant piece. Turn one leg set right side out and place it into the other set, which is wrong side out. Now that these pant sets are right sides together, we're going to pin the crotch curve from the top of the front pant to the top of the back pant, making sure to align that seam. Sew the crotch seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, finish the raw edges together. Here is the wrong side of my waistband piece, and I've gone ahead and applied interfacing all the way across. I'm going to fold this piece in half, aligning the short edges. Right sides together, sew this seam at 1/2 inch and press the seam open. After pressing that seam open, fold this piece once again, wrong sides together in half all the way around. With right sides together and raw edges even, we're going to attach the waistband to the top of the pant. I'm going to place the seam of the waistband at the back center seam and pin in place. Then I'll continue pinning the waistband all the way around. Once you have the waistband pinned all the way around to the top of the pant, we're going to sew all the way around with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, leaving a gap somewhere in your stitches of about 1 to 2 inches to insert the elastic. I've cut a piece of 1 inch wide elastic about a 1/2 inch less than my waist measurement. I'm going to secure one short end and draw it through the opening I left in my stitches. I've overlapped the short ends of the elastic here by about 1/2 inch and pinned in place. Now I'm going to sew together with a zigzag stitch. Pull the elastic entirely inside the casing. Then we'll sew closed the gap in the stitches with that same 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then we can finish those raw edges all along the inside of the waistband all the way around. For the bottom hem, I've gone ahead and finished the raw edges of the pant legs all the way around, and I've pressed them to the wrong side by the hem allowance of 1 inch. I'm going to sew from the front of the pant with about a 3/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. And now your culotte pants are complete. Thank you for watching this sew along. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future sewing tutorials, and I'll see you in the next video.